All right, let's get this show started.
In today's news, Aljamain Sterling sends a warning to Sean O'Malley's coach. Recently, over X, a heated exchange unfolded between Sterling and Tim Welch, who is O'Malley's longtime coach. This happened after footage surfaced of O'Malley's knockout victory, highlighting a moment where Welch, acting as head coach, shouted to Sterling during the fight saying, "Aljo, you've got to go." Moments after, the then champion aggressively charged in and was met with a decisive punch that led to the end of the fight.
Get that pressure. Aljo, you gotta go.
Now, in a recent YouTube video, Sterling talked about the comments he made to Tim Welch and said that if he sees Welch in public, it may turn to something else.
When you have all your teammates, your coaches, and your friends and your family that are now chiming in, talking shit, throwing shade, casting stones, you now make yourself a viable target, whether that's physically or verbally. We have somewhat of a code, and of course, if you're from anywhere that we're from, someone in your crew talks shit and someone else is with you and they talk shit and they're just with you. That person is liable to get smacked, punched, kicked, whatever, jumped, beat up, the whole nine. You're fair game for everybody. And that's what I'm trying to explain to these people. People think I'm being sensitive about it. I'm like, no, I just grew up with a different code. Just because you don't understand this doesn't mean I'm being sensitive. I'm sticking to the code that I know. And if you cross that line, you now put yourself in position to be attacked verbally, physically, whatever the case may be. So I'm not trying to be malicious or anything like that. I'm not trying to attack Tim Welch or anything like that. I actually like those guys. And I can like them, and I can still sit here and say this straight to their face. And it has nothing to do with losing to O'Malley. It has all to do with respect. At the end of the day, you say something, you got to answer for those words. You know what I mean? So if Welch wants to keep talking like that, and then we see him, and it turns to something else, I have no idea what might happen. But if it turns to something else, hey, you were part of this the whole time. That it is what it is at that point.
Darren Till is not interested in a bare-knuckle fight against Mike Perry. Till appeared on Monday's edition of the MMA Hour to give fans an update on his career, noting that he has little interest in signing with the BKFC. Till claimed he's too big and strong for Mike Perry and believes the BKFC is for fighters coming to the end of their careers and that he's not one of them.
I would love to fight Perry. I don't really want to fight him in bare knuckle because I feel like bare knuckle's the type of organisation you go to when, I don't want to disrespect anything, but when you're coming to the end, sort of, it's like you don't care about your face getting busted up and shit like that. Like, I feel still young and fresh, so, you know, I want to, you know, save the bare knuckle. It's not like, I just tell the truth, and I'm a truth teller. I'm not going to stand here and say I'm scared to fight bare knuckle against Perry, because I'm definitely not. It's just, I don't think bare knuckle's the right move for me right now, so I think boxing and then hopefully back to the UFC at some point is the right moves for me. Like, I don't know who's he been fighting. Like Eddie Alvarez, you know, Thiago Alves.
Yeah.
They've got the brain capacity of a loaf of bread. Like, he hasn't been fighting anyone. I'm not impressed. That's what I'm going to say.
That's fair.
Anyone can say what they're saying, but I know what I'm capable of. I know fast and ferocious I am. I'm too big and strong and clever for Perry. He's just a big Dumbo who walk forward and just...
Mike Perry hints at a massive return to the UFC. In a recent interview with RJ Clifford on MMA Today, Perry discussed what's next after his recent TKO win over Thiago Alves and revealed some interesting information regarding a potential return to the octagon. According to Perry, his manager is currently working to get a one-fight deal with the quote-unquote Mecca, of course, referring to the UFC.
Can you give us any hints on what's being worked on? Opponents or venue or sport?
Man, you know what? We're in talks with a couple people, and we're working on, you know, depending on how it goes, we could possibly get a one fight deal with the Mecca. And if you don't know who I'm talking about, you just gotta use your brain. We all know who the Mecca is. Mecca is the numero uno. So, you know, we're working to get a deal with them. So if I beat up another guy in another organization and get them to take notice, really not sure what I can and can't say, and I would like it to happen. So that's about all I can give.
I'm gonna assume Mecca's UFC. Alan, am I out of line here? Assuming
That's
Mecca's
where I'm
the
going
Mecca
with it.
for sure.
Joaquin Buckley doubles down on his Conor McGregor callout. Buckley's rise up through the welterweight rankings continues after a dominant win against Nursultan Ruziboyev that took place this past weekend at UFC St. Louis. Instead of calling out a top welterweight contender, Buckley used his post-fight mic time to call out Conor McGregor. McGregor still hasn't addressed Buckley's callout, and the UFC welterweight is dumbfounded by the silence. Taking to X, he wrote, "No response from the Notorious. Thought my man would stand on business about the McGregor name, but I guess that long line of McHoes continues on. I hope McJr. can end that hoe curse that runs in the McGregor's name. Hashtag take the throne, let that hoe go." Fans in the comments roasted Buckley for the callout, writing, "This has to be the worst callout in UFC history. He doesn't know who you are, bud. The only way he will know you even exist and that you called him out is if someone literally shows him. Have some respect for those who made the game what it is today. We know you want that bag, but you have been building a solid fan base and we want to see you compete." That callout caused some frowns because Conor doesn't want to compete, nor will he move you closer to that belt. The money is worth it if he bites, but he won't. You can't even manifest that. You need to rematch Holland. Talk about Conor McGregor, laughing him out. No one's coming to watch you fight. Why would McGregor respond? "I like you, bud. You're doing great, but you aren't anywhere near the level where Conor will even acknowledge you, let alone respond to a fight call-out from a fight night card. Headline a pay-per-view, win a title, then maybe call someone of that stature out." Daniel Cormier roasts Joaquin Buckley over cringy call-out of Conor McGregor. Speaking on the most recent episode of Fat Guy, Good Guy, Cormier called Buckley's callout, quote-unquote, worst of all time, and said it was so bad that even the fans booed him in his hometown.
Did you see those double legs? He looked like Jordan Burroughs. He's strong as anybody. He's strong as an ox. He's double-legging this dude, throwing him on the ground. But dangerous opponent, wins, gets the microphone, goes super long, which is very telling of the situation because you never get that much time on the mic. And then he goes to the Conor McGregor thing, and they start to boo him, Jail. How did he manage to turn heel in his hometown?
He asked him to stop.
How did he manage to go heel in his hometown? Then he tells them not to boo him. You can't. I mean, what is it? I have never seen. And in Universal on X, formerly known as Twitter, universally panned as one of the worst call-outs of all time. Now I'm going to see Joaquin Buckley, and he's going to approach me like they all do because he's one of those guys that does approach you. But that was horrible. How do you do that? I just don't know what he was doing, Chill. It was by far the worst. And then he goes and he calls Conor McGregor's mom a bad name. If it couldn't have gotten worse, he went further. It was bad.
MICHEL Pereira helps rescue efforts after horrific floods in Brazil. Thousands have been forced from their homes in Rio Grande do Sul, Brazil, in recent weeks due to relentless floodwaters. At least 116 people have died in the disaster, and a few hundred Brazilians are missing. MICHEL Pereira is seen on the front lines helping with the rescue and recovery efforts that are taking place in Rio Grande do Sul.
Guerreiro, preciso falar isso, calma.
Só pega aqui, ó.
E, Michel, eu acho que tá muito longe, hein?
Olha onde tá sorrindo lá. Olha o cachorro sorrindo lá. Olha lá. Olha o cachorrinho lá em cima.
Jogar a bunda ali.
E aí, vai nadando boia?
Não tem corda.
Vai, melhor. Deixa ele vir logo, ele vai vir nadando. Não, pode vir, que a gente vai sair mais rápido. A gente cobre ele, embrulha ele. Coloca o cobertor nele e ele vai.
It's time for today's top memes. The third place meme was found over on Reddit and was posted by Imperial Dude 94. Second place meme was found over on Facebook and was posted by Robert. And the top picked meme was found over on Instagram and was posted by As Shopped As It Gets. Thanks for watching. If you like the content, smash that like button and don't forget to subscribe to stay in the talk.